And welcome back to Illini Drive Wednesday edition. Myself, Jake Hasan, with Tommy Polcyn, Nathan DeHaan, and Alex Aguilera. How are we doing, fellas?
You know, I'm good. It's a nice little Wednesday. Wow. So, disclaimer for the audience who's just listening.
How do you have a story for every day?
I'm just an adventurous guy, you know, love to tell some stories. Anyway, since Jake so rudely interrupted my story, I'm wearing headphones for the first time we're doing this, and it's really tripping me out. I don't like hearing myself this closely in my ears.
So you're against it?
Are you ripping the cord?
I don't know if I'm against it. It's just weird.
All right. Stick with me for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to try it for this first break at least. We'll see how it goes.
Because what our listeners don't know is I'm a headphones guy. I'm the only guy in the studio that wears headphones on the show.
Alex was
I don't know.
Wow.
No. But he does it from like a production standpoint. Like you got to know, like, you know, when things are coming on the air, making sure you're doing your job right. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of like microphone arms in the way too, so I can't quite always see if you're wearing headphones. All I know is that I love the sound, and if Tommy's against it, he's against it.
I don't know if I'm necessarily against it. It's just weird. Like I feel like I'm in a bubble inside like a box, like some weird Inception stuff going on, and it's
bubble inside a box.
Bubble inside of a box inside of like another box. It's
two boxes, one bubble.
That's deep.
You don't
And then
understand.
Tommy.
It's just
That's deep.
complicated.
I should watch Inception again. I haven't seen
Great
that
movie.
in a
I watched a
while.
South Park episode last week, and it was it was a good time.
The South Park Inception episode?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Have you never seen it?
No, I'm not a South Park guy. I should be.
Okay. Well,
I actually just got into it.
And I've seen a few episodes. It's hilarious. I've obviously heard amazing things.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone are just comedic geniuses. So yeah, you know, shout out those guys.
Shout out.
Big listeners.
Definitely fans of the show.
To get to how I'm doing today.
Yes.
I feel like Tommy on Mondays. I had one class today, but it got canceled. So I've done nothing all day.
Nice.
Which I think is what Tommy does most days. So
I do what?
you do nothing.
What?
So disrespectful.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is that supposed to mean?
I just imagine you like on your laptop doing the things that you need to there, but like not moving for like 4 or 5 hours at a time. Am I inaccurate?
It happens sometimes. It's not like it's like an everyday thing like you're making it out to be.
I feel like you on a Monday though, when you don't have class.
Well, yes,
I know you have work.
Yeah, I got work, and then like I really only have a couple hours in between this and then.
But
So I
it
mean,
does
I'll usually either
happen,
I'll either go to the
does
gym or
happen.
I'll cook some dinner or something, doing something.
I did go to the gym today.
Yeah, come on.
I did one thing.
Yeah.
And laundry.
I was supposed to have a 4-hour lab today, and it got canceled, so that was pretty sweet. Opened up my whole afternoon. I see Tommy's a big chair guy, like having his own chair, like that he just he has to have that one chair that he always sits in.
Yeah, like and it's got like the footrest too.
Yeah, it's like an ottoman.
And somebody sits there and he's like, "What are you doing?"
And you can tell if someone's sitting
Like
there,
at
you
home,
sat in my chair today.
I for sure am. I like so I've got like a couch, right chair, left chair. Right chair is my spot.
Sure.
At my house here, we've got like a little bit of like a small couch, which is like a 2-seater, but it's really a 1-seater. Like realistically, it's a tight 2. And then you got another 3-seater one. So you either got to get a good spot on the 3 or you're just laying down on the 2, which is the ideal spot. But you know, it's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough to get that all the time. It's prime realty.
it sounds like it.
Yeah. So
Location.
yeah.
Man, just the accuracy of the description.
Yeah,
Just
you know, we
imagine.
got to paint the picture because not everybody can see this out here. But
Well, like we said, he's a storyteller. He's a big storytelling guy. Alex, how you doing today, man?
I'm hanging in there. 4 classes. Been running around campus today. But I'm gonna get through it.
Good.
Got a nice
I don't really
smoothie.
know how to You did it. This is the second show in a row you've had a smoothie. Is that going to be your thing now? New shtick?
So it's really nice because like I get off of work at 5:30 on today is Wednesday.
Yes,
on
today is
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
So
That's why we're here.
I have a nice little time. Like it'd be too early to come straight here because I drive. So it's like, do I want to drive 5 minutes, get there at like 5:35 and sit there for 20 minutes, or do you want to get a nice delicious smoothie from Smoothie King? Sponsor the pod, but yeah.
Smoothie King.
So you know I was a little
It's not
hungry.
pod, but
Yeah, it can be.
can be. We're working on it.
But yeah, no, I decided, you know, it's I might as well get some. So.
Same smoothie Monday and today.
Oh yeah, always got to go strawberry banana.
Oh, there
Big
you go.
on that.
That's
I'm
very-
all
okay.
in on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's strong.
Have you ever had the immune builder from Smoothie King?
I have not.
It's so obviously that sells itself as like the immune building smoothie. But,
Winter's
I've
coming.
never been to Smoothie King.
but flavor wise,
You're messing
Sir,
up.
you are
okay.
missing.
Sir.
I pretty much figured, yeah.
It's real good. Highly recommend.
just-
Flavor
I
wise
just
though,
got-
the immune builder holds its own.
Okay. I just got Haagen-Dazs and like Dairy
don't hate
Queen.
See, I'm not a big ice cream guy.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
I don't dislike ice cream, but I never go out of my way to get it.
Like it's every once in a
feel
while.
that,
It's
yeah.
every once in a while. Not all the time, but just as a treat.
Custard
Yeah.
cup.
If I get a smoothie, I
Jarlings.
go to Potbelly.
Potbelly.
Really?
Yeah. They got
Potbelly's got good milkshakes too.
yeah, underrated.
I've had their shakes. I've never had a smoothie there.
Smoothies are
I've had the
decent.
smoothies are pretty decent. I have had those too. All right, well, this is a sports show though, and we just spent
Can we
5
do a
minutes.
food podcast one day though, where you just talk?
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. We can workshop it. We'll see what happens. But as far as sports go, the Illini traveling to Chicago to play USF at Soldier Field this weekend. And I mean, how do we feel about this game? We talked about it a little bit on Monday.
I'm starting to kind of come around on it.
We did say, me and you said 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to kind of come around on this one. I initially thought it was easy 10-point win for USF at least, but now I'm starting to see some stats fly around saying they have the worst rush defense in the league, and
Did
we
see
have the
that
13th
today.
best rush offense in the league. So I mean,
Did see that.
I also
Mikey Epstein, let him go, let him loose, let him do his thing.
don't.
Who knows?
Don't throw the ball once. Just
I don't know
keep.
about that.
No. But I mean, definitely heavily focus on the ground game. And Tommy, I'm a lot like you. I looked at their offense, and as good as they looked, they much like Illinois, they haven't played any like premier.
They
talent.
also lost like a Heisman candidate quarterback.
yeah.
Like that's tough. It's not easy to come back. From
It's
that.
still.
Sorry, I mean,
no. That you segued it right. There's Charlie Strong still leads this team.
Yeah.
And their quarterback Blake Barnett just received like national recognition for his play last week. He had 2 pass touchdowns, 2 on the ground himself. But like, they don't necessarily jump off the page as a team that's definitely going to beat the Illini. Now that I look at it, obviously, we played Kent State and it was close, and we played an FCS opponent in Western Illinois. But I don't hate our chances.
I don't either. Like I said, I'm really coming around on it. I didn't see this. Like again, I kind of just when I initially looked at this game, I thought, oh, this is the same USF last year that put up like 49 points on us, I think. So I mean, I assumed it's that same team, but then like looking at it a little bit more, it's not as dominant of a team, and I think we are a better team. That should definitely bridge the gap a little bit. Epstein had a huge run against them last year too. I remember.
Like you said, they lost Brandon Flowers, I think, right? And
Yeah.
he was a very good. I mean, he's pretty much
Yeah.
the reason USF tore up the
Yeah,
Illini
he
last
was-
year.
he was wide
I think they
open.
lost a couple guys on defense who ended up getting drafted too. So I think the Illini are better this year. But the only thing is, I mean, we still don't know if AJ Bush is going to play, which is fine because MJ Rivers did
Yeah.
play really well against Western. But I mean, I think that's still a huge question mark. My question is that maybe a tactic that Lovie Smith and the Illini don't want to give away who's starting yet, so USF doesn't really know who's going to come out there? I mean, they're not completely different quarterbacks, but still,
Yeah,
like you want that little unpredictability.
I like honestly do think it more is it's not really like the deception factor where like they actually don't know what AJ is going to be like on Saturday.
right.
If both are healthy, we all agree start AJ Bush, right?
I think so. I think it's
It
still
depends.
his
If he's
team.
100%, yes. If there's any doubt, if there's any lingering pain, you don't want to mess with hamstrings.
Right.
But-
There's no need to rush him for this.
Hypothetical, 100%. We all agree.
Sure,
We're not
yeah.
MJ
Yeah,
Rivers over
Right.
AJ
There's
Bush
no,
yet.
There's
Okay.
no quarterback controversy
No.
in my mind.
Okay.
But I
At
mean,
the
like,
same time, like even if MJ does start with either of those quarterbacks, you get a very mobile guy. They, like we just said, they have a horrible rushing defense that sets up really nicely for
Right.
us.
And I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Monday. I mean, this is still non-conference. If AJ is at risk, I mean, you might as well just sit him because he's still your guy going into conference play.
Yeah, and I know we talked about on the show on Monday, maybe sit him for USF and then sit him for
Yeah.
Penn State too, and just like, go into the easier part of our schedule with a fully healthy offense. I mean, I think I'm on the train of start him when he gets healthy, even if that's Penn State,
Right.
because put another game under his belt, help him learn the offense in real time a little bit more. But
The only problem with rolling with MJ is that if he does play really well against USF and Penn State, I mean, then AJ comes back, and then as soon as AJ makes any one little mistake,
One interception.
you're gonna have people calling for MJ to enter the game. So, I mean, I do think if AJ still is in a little pain, you got to sit him this week against the last non-conference opponent and reevaluate Penn State.
Like I said, like I mentioned it just briefly earlier, but like especially with the hamstring, those are so like they're so like notoriously lingering and they never go away and they sit there forever unless you actually treat it right. So I don't think it's worth jeopardizing possibly jeopardizing his health for the rest of the season just to try and have him play in one game when you have a competent quarterback.
that being said, I feel like AJ Bush will start because, like you brought up on Monday, he came back on the sideline. He had his helmet. He was ready to go back in, and they kind of, I don't know if he was ready to go back in or if he was hurt, but they still wanted him on the sideline. But they kept going with the hot hand, whatever it was, and MJ Rivers did very well. So even if he's not starting, I think AJ Bush does, but if it's MJ Rivers, I still don't hate our chances.
Yeah, no, I agree. Either way, I think we're actually in a lot better of a spot than I thought.
No, and I mean, like you said, this rush defense, I mean, we've talked about it the last 2 weeks. You want to have 3 really good running backs, really quality running backs, plus a mobile quarterback. So, I mean, that allows Rod Smith to throw a lot of different looks at this USF team. I mean, but my question is, who do you think starts with the heaviest workload with the running backs? Do you still go with Corbin? Because Epstein had a really good game against Western.
Again, I mean, they've kind of said that they're going to play it slow with Epstein. I don't know, man, but like you see what he's done. You see how explosive he has been. It doesn't really look like he's even like in any doubt of himself. He looks like he's comfortable. He looks like he's 100%. So, I mean, again, it's kind of the same with AJ. Like, you don't want to jeopardize him and like risk any injury if you think he is not 100%. But if he is, you got to let him loose.
Yeah, I'm on the Epstein train. I'll be honest.
Absolutely.
After the game he had last week, give the kid the ball. I think he can do really special things, and I mean Corbin obviously is. I think it's a good one too. I think it's an Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram situation, not to the same extent where one's the red zone guy and one's like the kind of 3 down guy, but having 2 competent running backs against a bad rush defense is only good news.
And the thing is, I think of it more. I mean, Epstein had was it over 100 yards on 8 carries?
105 on 8.
105.
He should be getting more touches this game.
Right. Well, the thing is, and he showed it against Western. He's always going to be able to rip off those 30-plus yard runs. I think he has that explosive factor. Corbin's just kind of that solid guy. You know what you're getting. He'll give you 3-4 yards, and he can rip off the big one. But when you have Epstein, like, I feel like he's more of a threat to go down the field more. But that might just be me.
Go down the field in terms of rushing or receiving?
Just rip off a long run. Also receiving. I mean, Epstein's a very capable receiver as well. Not to say that Corbin isn't, but Epstein, I feel like you could split him out wide.
Between the two, Epstein's a little bit more versatile than Corbin.
I think so.
I mean, like, it's honestly a pretty lazy comparison, but Epstein reminds me so much of like a Christian McCaffrey, where like he just is that shifty guy. He can catch those passes, really can do everything. So
no, I mean, he's got awesome vision where if he sees a hole, he's going to hit it hard.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other question going into this game though is who's going to catch the ball. I mean, Edwin Carter's out for the year now. I mean, you still have possibly Ricky Smalling. I think maybe assume he can come back for this game.
Hopefully. I mean, again, I've said it twice now. If he's not 100%, you almost don't want him to, but at the same time, like, especially if it ends up being like MJ starting, you want him to have some receiver like Ricky who can go out there and make plays. I mean,
it's got to be Sam Mays, doesn't it?
Right.
He's going to be the first target, and then after that,
Stampley,
Bernard Davis.
Yeah, Davis.
Justice Williams, maybe.
Williams actually looks pretty good.
I mean,
all things considered, like being a linebacker and everything.
I know, I agree. I mean, he's been, for all intents and purposes, very capable as a receiver. He just hasn't really gotten as much action in the games. I mean, everyone's saying in practices and in training camp, he was just going and snagging jump balls and making these really exciting plays. So I think he could be an option there. I mean, we talked about it the last 2 weeks. I mean, Mays has been a very sneaky, steady option. I mean, he had 4 catches in each of the last 2 games. So, I mean, he's got to be the number one. But
and then if you look at the stats, I mean, pretty much it goes Ricky Smalling, Mikey Dudek, and Edwin Carter as the next 3. And that's what hurts so much.
Right. That was
having that receiving core just torn to shreds after 2 weeks.
Right. I mean, I think this is another game where you're going to be maybe relying on the walk-ons again. Especially, I mean, because Watkins, too. I mean, if you want to look at the defense, Watkins is out for the first half because of his ejection from the Western game. So I think this is, again, a lot where you're going to have to really mix and match a lot during this game because you're working with so little, really.
Here's what makes me confident, though. If you look back at USF, they just had a really impressive win against Georgia Tech, and you're going to see that big score, okay? And this is something that the Illini special team is going to have to pay attention to. Is Terrence Horn Jr. 2 kick returns for a touchdown in that game? Obviously, a lightning fast, quick, and just sees the field very well on kick returns. Definitely make sure that we are stopping him, and they don't have amazing field position in the beginning of every drive. Blake Barnett had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, received national recognition for that. 10-point comeback win. So he is a real deal. Very much like AJ Bush. He's a grad transfer from Arizona State with AJ Bush coming from Vod Tech. But as I brought up, their rushing attack, it's really Barnett, their quarterback, is their leading rusher. And I know we can't really say much because Illinois' leading rusher is AJ Bush after the ridiculous game he had week 1.
Yeah.
But if we can do well with that front seven like we looked like we could do against Western Illinois and make them throw the ball against us, I mean, that's pretty much all they have going for them. But if we can slow things down, make their offense one-dimensional, anything can happen.
I mean, if Jake Hansen has a game like he did in week 1, I mean, that just completely wrecks USF's game plan, especially if they're going to be relying on their quarterback to run a lot. But also, I think this is potentially a big game for Bobby Roundtree and Isaiah Gay to keep getting better, too, because they had a strong game against Western. Week 1, we were kind of like, okay, they didn't really do much. They each had a sack against Western last week. I think this is their chance to really show that they are the players we thought they were last year when they showed that really good freshman campaign, and then they can really start showing us that they've arrived.
And yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead. You can go.
I was gonna say, and realistically, this is our first competition that we know isn't supposed to be a cakewalk.
Right.
This is the first time that they're seeing an offensive line that has talent, that recruits hard out of a great state of Florida. So Bobby Roundtree, they're the edge rushers overall.
Yeah.
This game is going to be a test, and it's going to show how much we can expect of the Illinois front seven going forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. They obviously have the talent there. They've got the size. They look good in the first couple of weeks. So, I mean, I think that we shouldn't expect anything less, that they'll keep it up in this game.
So if Illinois wins, let's say because it's a big if. I mean, obviously you want to feel good, and the team has 2 decent wins as far as performance. But I mean, if Illinois wins, I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good heading into. It's a really strong Penn State team that should probably be a top 10 team. They're number 11 right now. I mean, if you win against USF, I mean, you feel pretty good, right? I mean, because that, like Nathan said, it's a quality opponent this time.
Feel good against Penn State or just going forward? Because I still think I think
regardless if we beat USF, I say we still lose to Penn State. I'll say this: if we beat USF, I have a pretty good feeling that going into Penn State that we could actually compete and not get blown out.
Sure.
That's probably like my only thought on that, though.
But even if Illinois won by 40 against USF, I would still say I still say Penn State beats them, just because I watched that Penn State team last year, and even though they looked they looked measly against Appalachian State, and they haven't really been the go-getters that everybody expected them to be, the college football playoff contenders as of right now that everybody expected them to look like. That's fine. They're still Penn State. I still saw what a lot of those people that returned could do last season, and so Illinois could impress the hell out of me, and I'd still be a little worried.
If we don't have Bennett Williams against Penn State, and by all indications it looks like we hopefully should, but if we don't, Trace McSorley is going to murder us.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be horrible. Like, he's probably a legitimate Heisman contender, right? McSorley?
I'd say the top 3 right now are Murray,
Will Greer,
Haskins, and Justin Anderson, too.
Yeah.
So I think those are your top 4 right now. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still know that Will Greer has dangerous weapons around him.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I
think Greer should be in that conversation.
And also, Ohio State's played cupcakes.
I mean, Haskins looks really good.
He does. I don't know. I'll if you're betting this weekend, take TCU. That's all I gotta say.
TCU.
I think
TCU playing?
Ohio State.
Oh, right. Isn't it only like a 2.5 point spread?
Oh, it's 6.5.
I thought I saw 2.5.
No. Yeah, it's 6.5.
That's I mean, regardless, you're saying TCU?
I took TCU. I threw 10 on it.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I think TCU puts up a game. I think that offense. I think that offense stalls a little bit.
Right now, I mean TCU's number 16 ranked.
Yep.
But I mean, right now I have in front of me they're plus 14.
Oh, maybe I have my lines wrong. I think you're right. No,
You're
right. You're right. I have my line. I'm thinking of a different game. No, you're right. It was big enough that it wasn't that. It was a lukewarm take, Alex.
Okay.
I think it's like 13.5, 14 what I put it on.
Okay.
Well, we'll get to that a little later. That we have maybe a new segment coming on that. But I mean, just to finish up this Illinois segment, going forward, even if you play USF close, I mean, do you feel pretty good going forward into the whole season?
Oh, yeah.
Just as that because this team has talent, and then like Tommy said, once we hopefully get Bennett Williams, and it looks like we will get those guys back against Penn State. I mean, then you have to feel even better because you get that boost once, even because if you play USF tight without them.
Well, there actually even is somewhat of a possibility I'm seeing that they could play this week. I saw in Levy's presser Monday, that he was saying his quote was, "If you're healthy, we'll play you," because they're so beaten up right now. There's so many injuries so far early this season.
It might just be a necessity at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you might have to.
It's kind of like a thing where I don't think he wants to, but like,
it's a real catch-22.
If you really want to give yourself a chance against the
Then
USF, you almost need
there.
those guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But on your point, do I feel good going forward? Absolutely, because after Penn State, we brought this up earlier. It's at Rutgers and then home against Purdue.
Right, we talked about this.
And
on
then,
Monday.
and if you go, and then I mean, I won't go through the rest. Go through the rest of the schedule just because then I'm going to hype myself up and say 7 wins.
And we did that on Monday.
Exactly. But I'm just saying that stretch right there, I think, is pretty much we're looking at USF and Penn State, which are going to be very tough games, and the all intents and purposes we're probably going to lose. We all have them as an if against USF and a probable against Penn State losing. But I'm saying those 2 games right there, I think, are going to show who Illinois really is. Are they going to be, a bottom third of the Big Ten?
Right.
Or are they going to sit somewhere right in the middle and maybe compete for a bowl game at the end of the year?
Okay, that's a fair take. I think that's a strong take to end that on. Tommy, you have anything? You good?
I mean, do we want to do like a score prediction?
Sure. Let's do a show. Sure. Let's do a score prediction.
You're right.
Okay, Tommy, you go first.
I was expecting to go last, but I will.
You can go last.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Just put me on the spot. It's cool. I will say 35-31 USF.
Wow, that close.
I do think it's gonna be closer.
Okay. Nathan, the line's +10.
I'm aware. I took Illinois.
Wow.
I took Illinois because I wanted to be rooting my ass off for
Okay.
him.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I'm gonna say 24-17 USF.
You think they only scored 24?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm with Tommy. I think this is a high-scoring game.
Right.
Yeah.
Haven't they scored a bunch in their first 2?
They did. They scored.
They've scored 34 and 49.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a
But
lot
the
of
defense
points.
isn't great, so I think that we can easily score 4 touchdowns and get a little.
Do you
field
think the
goal.
Illinois defense is better than USF's?
With Bennett Williams and Hobbs, yes,
Okay.
and Tony
Okay.
Adams, sure, but I don't know.
As of right now, no.
Yeah,
Okay.
This
Sure.
defense, no.
I feel
Healthy, full Illinois defense, yes.
Okay. I'll go Illinois 35, USF 42. I think this becomes like a really high-scoring game because I think Illinois starts running really quickly, and I think then that opens up the passing game. But I think USF does have the offense to kind of come back, and I think it will be within a touchdown.
Way to take my score.
Oh, really? Is that exactly?
I was gonna say that was
There you
the
go.
exact score I got. I was just like, this guy.
So
just
we've
took my
got
score.
42-35, 42-35.
No, you said 35-31.
I didn't say me yet. Yeah, I was going to say that.
I don't
Oh,
even
all
have
right.
to
Well,
say-
are you going to stick with your score?
Yeah, I'm sticking
don't change it.
42-35. Jake pretty much just took everything I was gonna say, so I'm just
Sorry,
gonna
go
say
Jake.
42-35.
I wrote them down.
Okay.
So we got Tommy's got 35-31. I'm 24-17. Jake and Alex are holding hands together at 42-35.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. So we all expect relatively close losses. So if somehow they win or maybe they get blown out, hopefully they don't because then we look really bad.
They're all covering the spread in our
Yeah,
our predictions.
that's a key note. But that's enough to end this segment. We will take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some NFL, some MLB. Nathan has a little bit on international soccer that he wants to hit too, so stick around for that. And welcome back to Illini Drive. Jake Hasan here with Tommy Polcyn, Nathan DeHaan, and Alex Aguilera. Just finished talking some Illini football. Moving on to some national storylines. Nathan has another soccer story. Nathan DeHaan, our soccer expert here. So go off.
I think that's all I've ever wanted in life is to hear Nathan DeHaan, soccer expert,
Sure,
and
okay.
then start talking on a radio show.
We'll get you a little nameplate.
I thank you. So obviously USA and Mexico is a pretty big deal for people that don't know. Specifically, obviously for the US and Mexico fans. Internationally, there are other games like Spain Croatia, in which Spain routed Croatia.
That honestly
Big surprise.
Where was Spain? Where was that Spain squad?
Yeah,
In the World Cup.
Yeah, and that
And
Croatia
Benatar brought that
and maybe
up
that
too.
just shows that Croatia had just the hot hand throughout the whole World
Yeah.
Cup. I mean, we know their midfield played out of their mind and Subotic between the pipes. I mean, Croatia's a good squad overall, but that Spain team they did so well of just capitalizing on opportunities. But the game that we really want to talk about, US-Mexico, USA beats Mexico 1-0. First, before everybody goes up in arms and starts saying that we're better than Mexico, pump
we're not.
pump the brake, pump the brakes. We're not.
We're not at all.
No, not yet. What I think it's promising though, because both teams had young talent on display, and while Mexico for the first 65 minutes of the 90 minutes pretty much dominated the game. You know, there was I think there was 2 chances the U.S. had, one right before halftime and one midway through the first half. There was a lot of young talent, and it's a lot of what to expect going forward. There wasn't Christian Pulisic, arguably the best American soccer player now that Clint Dempsey's retired. Right. Not ever, but currently.
As of right now.
Yeah, as of right now, and he is. I'll remind you guys, he's 20 years old.
Nice.
He's unreal.
So he's younger than Tommy and probably younger than me.
He's younger than me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Is he younger than me?
Oh yeah, you said you're young,
I'm
aren't
20.
you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
I think he's older than you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but
I think
he's young and
Man.
he just balls out and he plays international and he plays his
See it. Look at
club
that.
soccer in Germany
Borussia Dortmund.
for Borussia Dortmund.
I love Dortmund. They're so
Hey.
cool.
I got a Dortmund jersey, and I saw them play over the summer.
They're really cool.
I went to the Dortmund Man City game at Soldier
Yeah?
Field this summer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was
That's where we
great.
got Klopp from.
Anyway, yeah, all right.
Shout out to Jurgen.
Liverpool, go away. We're talking international soccer.
All right, Everton.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I,
Wayne
was,
Rooney was sick.
I wasn't the one that brought it up, but I thought
Have you looked at your
And the-
schedule coming up?
and the Wayne
teams
Rooney
that you
move I
guys
thought was
play?
a
Have
bad
you looked
move.
at our roster? Yeah, I'm fine with our schedule.
This is not what this
Okay.
segment is about.
All right, go ahead.
He's the one.
you were
chirping me.
taking away from Nathan.
You're the one
You
that
were-
attacked.
That's true. You did.
I just made a nice little point about where our boy Jurgen came from, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, Liverpool. As you sit over there in the worst side of Merseyside,
So USA Mexico played.
they did.
Yeah, they did.
Ended up 1-0. Nice Adams header goal off of a cross.
Yeah,
From the
it was nice.
it was right or left side. I can't remember. Not really important, but
From the left side.
it was. If you watch the game, it wasn't great because it was US's offense was strictly bring it back and then send a long ball up for Zardes to go chase. And the one time it worked and we got a free kick outside the box, like awesome. But that was pretty much all that we could produce in the first half and the beginning of the second half. But it was nice to see a little offense production eventually. It's nice to see that defense can stop a Mexican attack that looked dangerous. But what we learned is that U.S. still doesn't play soccer the way that beautiful European teams play soccer and the way that looks like it makes sense. But this is a young team that's learning. They got to, be on a nationally televised game on a stage against Mexico, pull off the W. There's positives to take away, but don't get up in arms just yet because it was a friendly and something that if you don't know about soccer, friendlies literally mean nothing. They are just exhibition games for international teams to play, for everybody to come together and watch their international team for like a week or two. It was fun. It was a day full of good international soccer, and U.S. got the win. So
Yeah, it's always fun to see U.S. play Mexico. Nice little rivalry there. At the same time, too, U.S. did get kind of lucky, get a little break with only a 10-man squad with Mexico.
yeah,
So it wasn't that much of an impressive win, but it is nice to see though. Regardless,
it's always fun to see USA Mexico. It's always fun to beat Mexico,
Yeah.
and even when it's a friendly and it doesn't mean anything, positives to take away. If any of these listeners tuned in, and I hope you did because I plugged it a little bit on the Monday show. I hope you enjoyed it because international soccer, they're still trying to ride the wave that comes with the World Cup.
Right.
And so that's why they new UEFA National, the Nations League. I don't know if it ever existed before this year. This little tournament that I don't even know if it was a tournament, but the showcase that they did this week. But
I can't recall it.
if you hate, even if you hate soccer but you watch the World Cup, just know that international games are always going to be worth watching because it's the biggest stars representing their country, and I think somebody made the comment to me the other day that there has to be no better feeling than being selected for the national team in soccer, just because of no other national team really means as much.
Yeah, just
like
being on
even-
the senior squad. I mean, obviously you could play like U20 23, 21, 17 or whatever. But when you're on the senior squad and you're playing like the best of the best, the premier guys, it's a great feeling.
I think national team for soccer, even if it's just a friendly, even if it's like not the World Cup, is on par with being selected for the Olympic team.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Hands
just
down,
because the amount of work that you put in and then to put your nation's shirt on has to be awesome.
All right, here, let me ask you this real quick. Outside of Polcyn, who are some young guys that you really like so far from this U.S. squad?
So we could talk about his name escapes me right now. Guy plays on PSG.
Timothy Way?
Yes, Tim Way, is very deadly. I think Matt Miazga's that Miazga was playing for Mexico last night, or am I reading this wrong?
No.
He was the one. He made the short joke.
Yeah, no, he's playing with the U.S. He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
6'1". He's 6'1".
Yeah. No, I was reading this and it made me freak out to think that he was on Mexico for a second.
Yeah, I was just like, no.
Yeah, he made like a short joke. He looked solid. I don't know. It feels like the whole team is pretty young. Zardes, I still think, is a viable option at forward, even though he's American through and through, playing with the LA Galaxy and that thing. Any U.S. soccer player that I see go and play his youth time in Europe and develop with some of the better clubs in Europe, that shows just so much promise. And those are the players I'm really excited about, because we've watched it happen with Pulisic. We watched him come in, be a 17-year-old on the senior team, and then realize, when you go up against the competition of Borussia Dortmund every day, you get to the point that you can dominate, 30-year-olds that have been playing for a while in the MLS.
Yeah, what is it? I think Julian Green's back on the team.
Yeah,
I remember back in 2014, he was a little bit of a Christian Pulisic. I think
when he mishit that ball for the goal against Belgium.
Oh, okay, that was heartbreaking. I remember that. But aside from that, I remember there was hype about him. I think he was on loan to Bayern Munich at one point. I remember he was in Bundesliga.
He was on Bayern. He was
on Bayern. Okay, correct. But yeah, no, I think that was a guy. It's kind of cool to see him back again. He kind of went quiet. I don't know what happened to him, but I am really, hoping that this U.S. team finally, gets the development that they need to compete against these bigger nations.
They'll be strong in 2022.
Yeah,
and then they'll be. They're not going to win it. But I'm saying that they have a realistic chance. I think of quarterfinals in 2026. I mean, it'll be on home turf.
Yeah,
and you'll have so many years of development that Pulisic will be in his prime. We have guys like Weston McKennie, Kellen Acosta, like we brought up, Will Trapp, Adams, the goal scorer. So a lot of promising stars in this team.
Yeah, you got Way at PSG, Pulisic at Dortmund. I was hearing he might come to Tottenham, which would be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Hopefully one day. I don't know. But yeah, no. High hopes for this.
Cute.
Hey, you know what? Didn't you guys
Please
blow
come
a
to
Premier League
Chicago.
title against Man City a couple years back?
I wasn't watching soccer then, so I don't know.
Tommy's a very new soccer guy. He just became a soccer guy last
I
year.
told you I started September of last year. It was literally right around this time last year.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty basic. Just sort of all teams.
I
Just,
actually remember you were saying, you're
Liverpool.
like, yeah, I might catch a couple Liverpool games this weekend. And then you came back in on Monday and you're like, I'm all in on soccer. You were all in.
Okay,
Jake, what about you?
whatever.
Where do you stand on soccer?
I can't get into it. When the
Understandable.
World Cup comes around, I'll watch it. And I think that's exciting just because, the whole national, people really get into it. But, Premier League, all this, I just can't get into it.
And the scheduling's tough just because of how early the games are, and a lot of times I think Fox Sports does a lot of the games, but
FS1,
but they don't
FS1 does Bundesliga and then NBC does Premier League.
So the NBC there is NBC
so
and then they don't have enough for you to be able to be like, I'll watch soccer all day.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like football where you
Right.
can sit down and watch the game at noon, the game at 4, and then the Sunday night game.
You got these games at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning.
And there's no way that you can pull off a red zone for soccer because scoring chances are all of a sudden there.
Right.
So it's just not gonna grab Americans' attention the way that most other sports that people pay
Right.
attention to do.
If anything, it's probably the World Cup just because I think timing-wise, it turns out to be better.
It's the summer. It's the dog days of summer, or it's summer when there's just baseball. And
Right.
as much as I can watch Cubs games, I can watch baseball full games and enjoy them. It does get boring watching one sport over and over again, especially when we're about to get spoiled in the month of December when we have football and we have hockey and we have basketball.
Yeah, postseason baseball. This is the time where us American sports fans get really spoiled. But no, I think the U.S. men's team is definitely a team to watch out for in the future. But the women's team now,
They've been good for a while.
they're
right?
on another level.
Yeah.
That's what
And I don't know how that happened either. How we like the men of our country just like kind of stayed the, you know, lower tier soccer players, and the women just like skyrocketed and became unreal, but like right away. Because it was the 2011 that we lost to Japan.
I remember that game. Yeah, actually,
It was 99 when we won the first time. Then we murdered, was it Japan in the one in Canada in 2015?
Yeah, it was Japan.
And then we got another one coming up where we're heavy favorites again.
Yeah, but I think it's just that it was actually I had seen the women's team play over the summer as well. They played Brazil, at the Fire Stadium, and man, they just looked. Just every player you look at is just talented. Like Tobin Heath, Carly Lloyd,
Alex Morgan.
Wambach's gone. That's sad. But was it Megan Rapinoe? Just so many girls on that team that it's just stacked.
Did not anticipate this to become an entirely soccer segment.
This is
I
probably
love
the
it.
most soccer we've ever talked on the show, like ever. I mean, in the 2 years that I've been, like, even when Ori was here, we didn't do a lot.
Me and
of
Ori
soccer.
talked a decent amount last
But
year.
we've been going on soccer for like almost 15 minutes now. This is definitely the most soccer we've ever had on this show.
I don't know. I feel like pre-World Cup we did some like seeding stuff. No,
I don't think so.
yeah, I don't know.
USA Mexico. USA wins 1-0. Positives to take away, but don't set the world on fire. Mexico will still beat us in a competition game.
Yeah, Mexico beat Germany in the World Cup, so
Yeah.
everybody chill.
How quickly,
People forget that.
How quickly
People
people
forget
forget.
Yeah, but I mean,
So by transitive property, we're better than Germany.
transition property.
No, by no means. Far from it.
Oh man.
That was a joke. I understand that Germany's very good.
Do we have a laugh track on that board?
No.
Or
I think
can
it
we
just
get
happened.
one?
We're not on that level yet.
We're working on it. Okay, we're in week 3. We're just.
I'm sorry, between
We're
like the men's
slowly
team and the women's team, like
Like
I
week
just
2.
have the utmost respect for this women's
forgot
team,
about
but the
that.
men's team, they got a ways to go. They got a ways to go.
Yeah.
Just don't throw them in that conversation. Just because we're the U.S. doesn't mean anything.
No. And people talk about, there's underdogs at every World Cup. And it's like, yeah, like who saw Costa Rica in 2014? But like that doesn't mean that you calling USA for the next 3 World Cups means that when all of a sudden it happens, you were like, oh, I called that one.
Yeah.
USA 2030 World Cup champion.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really have a good segue to this, but we can skip the second break this time around, so we'll just keep moving.
Ooh,
On
okay.
to American football.
Ooh.
We talked about the Bears extensively on Monday. Looking ahead to week 2, we'll start with them. They play the Seahawks on Monday night, the only primetime game that they're scheduled for thus far. Tommy, what are you doing?
I forgot to take off my headphones, and now I'm looking to see if I like it better one of the other ways. Don't worry about me.
I was going to say, because
keep
I was
doing
gonna,
your thing.
I mean, you've had them on for a while. So
I
I'm
meant to
guessing
say,
you're
you've had
used
the
to it.
headphones on the entire time.
It's
So
kind
I
of.
was-
It's
I
still
meant to
weird
ask
to
if
me.
you were into it now.
But it's specifically weird if you take them off while like the segment is going on.
Yeah,
because
that's
if you
right.
just start with them off, you kind of get used to it. But no, take them off,
Right.
take it completely off right now, and just witness how different the radio station and like your
Yeah,
perception
see, like,
is.
I don't like it. Now I'm just in a bigger bubble. It's
Big bubble,
I'm so
box,
trapped
box,
here.
and then another bubble.
I'm so trapped here. I think I have to stick with it for at least the rest of this episode because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just gonna mess with my brain.
Okay.
So how about them Cowboys?
Oh, do we
They look bad.
Are we out on Dak Prescott?
No.
No, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
He's
it
not what
doesn't
I
look
initially
good.
thought he was.
Right.
He reminds me of when he was at Mississippi State, and every year he'd be in the Heisman conversation at the beginning of the year, and then every
Just
year he just
fall
would
off,
fall
yeah.
off,
Yeah.
and people would eventually be out. Maybe that is his rookie year. Everybody's like future MVP, and now, well, I mean,
remember
people
that
were
too.
saying
I
that.
mean,
Yeah, I know.
him and Zeke together in that was it 2015 season,
Yeah.
2016
Yeah.
season, whatever it
It's
was.
just looking back at it now, I'm just like, man, really?
2016
Like,
now.
And they had that offensive line, which still is kind of there, but
Mostly, for the most part, yeah. I mean, this might be a hot take, but Dak Prescott is just a glorified Geno Smith.
wow.
ooh.
Wow, that's
Wow,
a
Geno
really
Smith.
hot
I haven't
take.
heard that name in a little bit.
Geno Smith is extra stinky. Dak Prescott is not near that yet.
I feel like he's quickly approaching that territory.
Zach
now.
Prescott
so?
just like needs a candle. He's not stinky yet.
Right.
Dak Prescott is Geno Smith with better supporting talent.
No.
But the Cowboys receiving core is
he's not.
garbage right now.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, Des Bryant's still a free agent.
Yeah.
How is that happening?
He said he's gonna wait and then see what contenders want to pick him up like halfway through
So
the season.
this man's trying to sign in like week 10.
Yep.
And be out of shape, not know the playbook.
He's-
and
He's trying to get that ring. He's trying to get that ring.
I mean, he's
He's trying to pull the JHI. Not that JHI had any say,
Right, he just got-
hop on a team that's pretty hot and then like ride out the last like 6 or 7 weeks to the playoffs.
Yeah,
And
right. I mean,
okay, but
what
imagine
is his plan?
but imagine like I think the Rams have a potential of being like an NFL champion this year. I think that team is kind of complete. So imagine like a Robert Woods or a Cooper Kupp goes down and Dak Prescott's still in the market.
They have Brandon Cooks though.
I'm just saying like
If they go down,
an
they
example.
might-
An example.
Right.
There's Brian.
I mean,
Market, not Dak Prescott.
I don't know why are the 49ers not signing him?
Why didn't the Browns sign him? That would have been.
I
That would
legit-
have
The
been.
Browns don't need more dysfunction. They just got it together.
But it would have been
Him and
so
Jarvis
cool for Hard
together would be
Knocks.
awesome though with Josh Gordon. Those
Honestly, I
three would
would've
be
loved Des Bryant in
disgusting.
Cleveland.
Think about the receiving core of Des Bryant, Jarvis Landry, and Josh Gordon.
That's
But I feel like
not bad.
That's not bad. That's unbelievable.
bad.
Jarvis Landry
is
is
Des
low key
Bryant
like a top
still
3
as good
receiver
as he
to me.
used to be though?
Is Des?
Is Des still as good?
He's
as,
at least he's
'cause I
a
feel
little bit slower.
I feel like he's closer to average now.
But I mean, he's
A little
still
bit above
He's
average.
still
I think he's
got
a little
good
bit.
hands, and he's big enough that like you can really strictly use him on more or less red zone plays,
Yeah.
and he'd be great for you.
I think
Yeah.
I think another example of how quickly they forget. I think people are still forgetting though who Des Bryant freaking is. I mean, he I know he's a little bit past his prime.
Yeah.
But he terrorized defenses from like 2011 to like 2015.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember as a Packers fan, the Des dropped it, Des caught it game.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching him go up for that, and like I thought he caught it at the beginning, and like
Everyone did.
He did catch it.
Yeah,
And
and that's
he-
also
he
good.
caught
He
it.
did catch it.
and I thought he
And they
caught
said-
it. And no,
That's
but
what I said. He caught it years later. He caught
right.
it.
okay, and honestly, I think that was the worst PR move the NFL has ever done, is to come and revisit something that everybody thought was so controversial and be like, you know what? You guys were all right. We missed that call. Like that just was so bad on the
3 years
NFL's
later,
part.
when they didn't even have to.
Like we knew that when the play happened that he
Right.
caught the ball.
But to my point, look at the only reason he quote unquote dropped it, according to the officials on the game, is because of his athleticism to like try to reach the ball over the goal line, like mid falling down for the catch. Like Des Bryant is a freak athlete still, and he might be a little slower, and he might not know the playbook when he comes in. But I think he's still working out with intent on signing
Yeah.
with a team, and I think he still can boss around a cornerback.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably still good for a big play or two. I mean, he's got to just be hoping to hop on with the Patriots or Eagles or Rams, right?
One of those 1 year Patriot contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Should we preview Bears Seahawks a little bit more?
I mean, we can a little bit. I mean, I think the Bears are -3.5 favorites, which I wasn't expecting. I figured I thought they'd be dogs in that one for sure.
Really? I feel like the Seahawks are pretty
I thought it'd be
stinky.
flipped. I thought it'd be the Bears +3.5. I thought it'd be a small line, but I thought
Why would they be
underdogs.
favored? I feel like the Seahawks are stinky.
I mean, they
Russell
are,
Wilson.
but just because.
But like, who else? Doug Baldwin isn't even playing.
Earl
I don't
Thomas.
think.
I mean, I think that defense is still decent because it's week 2 is what I'm saying. So I don't know if it's just the Packers game and the Bears hanging with the Packers for 3 quarters and leading for a half that flipped that line, but I didn't expect the Bears to be favored. in
I
this
just feel like the Seahawks O line is horrible.
It is, no.
And then Khalil Mack,
Yeah.
hopefully more Roquan. Like they're not going to be able to do anything against
one.
that.
I do expect the Bears to win this game by at least 10 points, but
I feel like it's 2 touchdowns at least. Like I
Right, no,
I
I
do
can
not
see that
think
too,
I
though.
don't have any faith in
is
Seattle
their
being
kicker
good this
still
year.
Blair Walsh?
I think so.
Let's lock it in. I mean,
Seahawks? What happened to Hauschka?
He's in.
Oh,
He
wow.
left. Blair Walsh was their kicker last year too.
Never mind then.
I don't remember.
They watch
where,
a lot of
I don't
Seahawks.
remember where Hauschka went, but he went somewhere. All right. I mean, we'll fine. We'll debut the new segment, lock of the week. I mean, mine's Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. I mean, I'll say this. I don't even know the Notre Dame line right now, but I know they're coming back after that Ball State game.
It's 14.5 or 13.5
Against Ball-
against Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay.
That's you can bet the mortgage on that.
You
they
bet the
barely beat
mortgage. I
Ball.
like that.
They barely beat Ball State last week. Like, there's no chance that they don't come out and drop 60 on these guys.
Notre Dame's your lock of the week.
I think,
Oh, yeah.
I think Notre
I
Dame's
swear,
on that revenge
Vanderbilt
game.
wins. If Vanderbilt wins that game,
Oh,
I can't wait.
We might
come
have to
back
watch
into-
Tommy for a couple of days if
Yeah.
Vandy wins that game.
I was so sad. I didn't even want to come into radio the next week after we lost to Miami last year.
I remember that game.
I was
yeah.
so sad.
I was all in on Notre Dame. Feeling
We
good
looked
about
so
it.
good going into that game, and then we got smacked around, and it was just miserable.
That was bad.
My lock of the week is Eagles -3.5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know Fitzpatrick lit the world on fire, and you guys are going to say my Saints defense because apparently I adopted the Saints defense as my own.
Wagon to the Saints. You did.
So I
By
guess
the way, Stephen Hauschka's a Buffalo Bill.
okay,
That's what I thought.
Thank you for looking that up.
I did. Yeah, I was curious.
It's the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles apparently, and I know Nick Foles is going to start this week, but apparently Carson Wentz timetable for return week 3.
Okay.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team, so I hope so.
Okay.
And like I remember when he came back to training camp and everybody was like, Carson Wentz looks just as good, like no knee injury problem at all. And now, like I think the Eagles did the right thing and gave him the right amount of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that there's a lot of I'm as a Packers fan, Brian Balaga tore his ACL last year and he started right tackle against Khalil Mack. It was I remember seeing that and I was like, if he goes down again, I'm gonna be so mad at the Packers personnel. Thank God he didn't. I think the Eagles realized this is our franchise quarterback. Rest him as long as we can. We are a fantastic team, even without a potential MVP candidate as our quarterback. Lock it in. Eagles versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Did I tell you that Mike McCarthy is my head coach in this weird league?
Okay, I have a lot of people tell me that they think Mike McCarthy is like on the hot seat and or not a great coach, and I've never once considered that.
Really?
He is.
Really?
He's called plays for Aaron Rodgers like his entire career. Other than there's I think 2 years he gave up play calling to the offensive coordinator. But like Mike McCarthy, like think about the Packers' dominance since the Super Bowl in 2010. I mean, we've only lost the NFC North once.
Does that say
You
more
guys-
about,
no,
does that
twice.
say more
should have
about-
had like probably 2 more Super Bowls. Though.
does that say more about you guys or more about the NFC North during that time?
I mean,
because the Vikings just got good.
Fair, but the Lions still had the Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford. They weren't great, but they gave
were
us
like
problems.
a 9-10 win team.
The Bears, it was like the end of like the Briggs Urlacher like solid Bears defense years.
they still weren't good.
They
The
were
early
Right.
2010 teams were pretty decent.
The 2010 team.
because
they went into
2010
the-
was the year that the Bears won
Right.
the NFC North.
Correct.
The
Right,
Packers
and
got
they
in a
went to
wild
the
card.
NFC Championship against the Packers. Freaking BJ
But
Raji.
I mean, but since then, it's been the Packers.
Don't do that.
Stop.
Did he retire?
BJ Raji.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I think he's
back.
back.
So good.
But I've never once considered Mike McCarthy on the hot seat or even debated what we would do at head coach outside of him because him and Aaron Rodgers, he made the transition from Favre to Rodgers so well. He's I don't know.
And does
And
that
also
say more about him or about Rodgers?
okay, obviously he fell into a great situation in one of the most seamless quarterback transitions I think in the NFL. Like other than like Steve Young and Joe Montana.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a quarterbacks that went back to back that both became Hall of Famers.
Sure. Also, just to circle back to the Eagles thing with Carson Wentz, I mean, they can afford to sit him because they have Tampa this week, then Indianapolis Colts in week 3, and then Tennessee Titans in week 4. They don't face. I mean, they face the Vikings week 5. So really, you probably
wait.
don't. You
Yeah.
probably don't need Wentz until week 5.
They probably want him to get one game in
Right,
before
yeah,
then, and like probably want him back as soon as possible, just for, having like the team set the way that they want it. But I get the point that you're making.
Yeah. No. Sure. Alex, do you have anybody you want to highlight for this upcoming week? NFL, MLB, anything?
Give me a lock with the Rams and the Cardinals.
Okay.
I got Rams.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
the Cardinals are pretty stinky this year.
Yeah,
Cardinals are
I'm gonna just play it safe. Play it easy.
I mean, how soon does? I mean, I can believe because it's only been week 1. But I mean, how soon is Sam Bradford out of there or hurt and Rosen's in?
No, dude, Mike Lennon's number 2.
Stop.
Can you imagine being a Cardinals fan and then being like, this week we're gonna sit Sam Bradford and start?
I can't imagine because the Bears did it for 4 weeks last year.
It was great. It was really fun.
Oh no, it was that was I think
I loved watching that big goofy idiot go out there and throw pick sixes to every single defensive player in the league.
I think that was one of my favorite parts of being a Packers fan was watch the quarterback transition from like Cutler to like Jimmy Clausen for a little bit to like Mike Glennon,
Matt Barkley for a little bit.
Yeah.
and then when everybody thought McCown was the truth because they had like a
my
good
God.
sketch
McCown
with
was
him.
the truth.
He was the truth.
And they got paid by the Jets. I respect that.
Our
actually.
biggest mistake as a franchise was not just hanging on to Kyle Orton because he was a national treasure and he was a god.
He would have been.
He was a man amongst
He would have
boys.
been a perfect bridge quarterback too.
Yes, he would have been fine. He knew exactly
would've
what he
been
had to do.
fine.
He wasn't there when
Perfectly
John
fine.
Fox was there, was he?
No.
I was gonna
No.
say because
He
then
was
they could have
gone
done like a
before
little
that.
Broncos reunion
I
and
don't
everybody
even-
could have freaked
He
out.
wasn't even there for a lot of the Trestman years, I don't think.
Orton, no, because Orton was part of the Cutler trade.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Gordon was traded, so maybe he did get John Fox in Denver for a
he
little
might have
bit.
had John Fox.
yeah.
He did have John Fox in Denver for
must have.
Oh, there
sure.
you go.
Yeah.
Kyle
That's-
Orton. Wow.
Yeah.
Kyle Orton's such like I loved him. I was listening to an interview with Brian Urlacher, and he was saying like he loved Kyle Orton.
Yeah,
He
I
thought he
heard
was a
that.
great player, and like how he was basically saying like he could have been a lot better than he was, but he only did whatever they asked him. You know?
I feel like Kyle Orton in the league today, you put him with someone like Sean McVay, Kyle Orton lights the world
he'd
on
be
fire.
a god. That's what I'm
I
telling you.
think
Like
so.
Be a god.
I-
He would be
I'm-
so good.
I'm with it.
Can we do a little?
Bring back Rex Grossman.
it's an elite beard. I'll tell you that.
It is an elite
Haircut
beard.
too.
Can we finish up a little NL Central talk?
Sure, yeah. Nathan put this in our schedule for today. So NL Central, I'm a Cardinals fan. All these guys are Cubs fans. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
can go first. Go for it. I mean, we did this a little bit, but I mean, you play. I mean, what do you want to hit? This was your.
I just the Milwaukee series is as of late, and I say series is because obviously the Cubs dropped the series against Milwaukee in Milwaukee. Now we have them at Wrigley, and we split the first two, or no, yeah, split the first two. We have the third one tonight. It's Anderson versus
Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks. Hendricks and Tommy brought this up. Hendricks has looked great. Tommy's number 2 for the playoffs if he's in Joe Madden's shoes. I don't know really what I wanted to hit, more so that I wanted to ask you as a Cardinals fan sort of how you're feeling wild card position now. You're 2 games behind the Brewers and 2 games up on the Dodgers. And
As far as staying in the wild card, I feel good for the Cardinals. I don't think anyone is going to come up behind them. I think they've pretty much. I mean, they still have to play well. I mean, there's 20-something games left in the season, I believe. Maybe less than that.
Right now, according to ESPN, the Cardinals only have a 68% chance to make the playoffs.
I mean, that's still pretty good.
It's good, but like
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's that low.
I'm surprised too, but because I think they see it as someone from the NL West could creep up, and which is a possibility. I think
Right
LA
now, they more or less have the Dodgers winning the West, and they've got Colorado at a 51% chance to make it. So you're more or less battling Colorado.
wait, they have the Dodgers winning the West, even as hot as the Rockies have been, and the Dodgers have been so under. I mean, it's ESPN. They're definitely going to want to push for the Machado-led Dodgers.
And I'd rather look at Fangraphs when I get a chance, but I think the Cardinals are fine in the wild card. I think it's mostly just you're battling Milwaukee for that 1-2 spot. And either way, I think the Cardinals play well in Miller Park, and obviously they play well at Busch.
And one thing I've never been concerned about the Milwaukee Brewers. Like I have never once really been like I was scared of the Cardinals when they started going on their tear
In August.
and they're still kind of, I mean they're not
the
as
rally
hot.
scroll came out the other night. You guys see that? The rally scroll was in Pittsburgh. It was wild.
That's what your second class organization result goes back to.
That was a bit.
Jeez. But I like as a Cubs fan
That's cute,
that's
though.
had the Brewers that's had the Brewers
Is he
for
a
the
little
past
furry guy?
Tommy,
Little,
we're trying to do a sports show here.
Well, and here's the thing: the Cardinals, they just took the series against the Pirates.
Remember when the Pirates tried to make this push and they signed Chris Archer and it just went
They gave
horribly
up. They gave
wrong?
up.
going back
They gave
to
up 3 really good prospects for it.
going back to the thing, I just came to Fangraphs and it's all about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it actually might be a Fangraph stat that
Well,
ESPN's using.
Here's the thing: I think it'll change because the Cardinals' next series, starting tomorrow, is 4 games against the Dodgers. So I think if they win that series, and they swept the Dodgers last time they played,
That'd be great if they swept the Dodgers because I'd love to see them not make the playoffs.
Because that's what
Because
I
the
think.
Dodgers are the only team in the NL that still scares me as a Cubs fan.
I'm not scared of any NL team besides maybe the Cardinals. I don't want to play the Cardinals.
Oh, I want to play the Cardinals.
I don't
You
want to play the Cardinals.
I want Kyle Schwarber.
This
to play the
man's out here
Cardinals.
saying second-class organization, then comes back with "I'm scared of the Cardinals."
Just because they have that like voodoo magic where every year they seem to turn it on the right
Marcell
time.
Ozuna, since he came off the DL,
And they get a bunch of those idiots like David Freese back
Matt
way,
Adams
way
had
back
a 3-run
when.
go-ahead
Yeah.
homer the other day. in
That's
the
what I'm
7th
saying.
inning.
Like you get like guys like that have no business being anything,
And then
and
they
they
Well,
just
just
show up out
okay,
of
well,
nowhere.
here's someone who does have business being something. Marcell Ozuna, since he came
He's
off
good.
the DL,
Yeah, all right.
hitting plus
I'll give you that.
350, OPSing almost 900, and he's hit 5 homers in his last like 8 games, 10
Yeah,
games.
he's
somewhere.
really good.
He's very. I think this is finally the players that I think Ozuna is finally becoming the player we thought he would be once they traded for him.
Okay, how stupid is this? I'm looking at so they've got the percentage to win the World Series too.
Sure.
They have the Dodgers at 14% and the Cubs at 10.5.
Very, very stupid.
Because I think that
Really?
because I've said this all baseball season. The Dodgers are very talented. They're just not playing up to expectations.
So are we.
But I'm saying like the Dodgers are still like. I mean, I think that's the Machado and Kershaw effect.
It's the Kershaw effect.
I think it's because the Cubs have stars. I think the Dodgers have two legitimate superstars, and I think that's why they're getting.
Are you telling me Chris Bryant's not a superstar?
No, I'm saying that.
Is Anthony Rizzo not a superstar?
I don't think Anthony Rizzo's a superstar. He's a star. I don't think he's a superstar.
Anthony Rizzo, I would argue, has probably been, if not the best, a top 2 to 3 first baseman in the league the last however long he's really been in the league.
I love Anthony Rizzo.
Goldschmidt.
That's my guy.
Goldschmidt, I'll give you, sure. I would take Goldschmidt over Rizzo.
I'm trying to think.
These long pauses. I don't know.
It's good radio.
I mean, I don't. That's why I'm trying to go through it quick because I don't
Okay.
have time to actually look at it. But sure, I mean, that might just be me. But
he consistently hits almost 300 with 100 plus RBIs every year.
It's
Is a
very
Gold Glove
consistent.
candidate.
25 to 30 home
He's the
runs.
team's leader. Like he's the heart and soul of the
No,
Cubs.
I agree that he's the heart and soul of the Cubs.
I just feel like his numbers.
I feel like that, like you said, the World Series odds. I mean, they're forgetting that the Dodgers aren't even in the playoffs right now.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
and the Cubs the Cubs are 2 games up on the Brewers, and then even then they're 3 games up on the Braves. The next is the Cardinals. The NL West that everybody's so nervous about, like the Rockies are 5 games behind the Cubs.
Right.
Like,
So here's the thing. So the Rockies, I think this is the chance where this next stretch of games, 5 or 6 games, is where the Dodgers could completely fall off it because they play the Cardinals for 4. And then right after that, they play the Rockies. So if the Rockies win that series and the Cardinals win their series against the Dodgers, LA's out of it. I mean, that's it.
I would love that.
can't make up that ground.
I honestly
Because
don't.
then they play.
I don't think the Dodgers make the playoffs.
No.
I don't think
I'd
they
be
do
so
either.
happy if they don't.
It'd be surprising, but I could also see it happening because then the Dodgers after the Rockies, they play as soon as it loads. I mean, because realistically, the Cardinals have only lost 2 series in the last 3 months or so. Okay, so they have the Rockies, then they have the Padres, but then they have the D-backs and Giants to close out the series. At San Francisco is their last series. They're on the road for the last 6 games of the series, so the Dodgers could legitimately miss the playoffs.
And
I think
It's a real
and
possibility.
the Rockies are a fun team. I would love to see the Rockies.
Nolan
make it.
Arenado.
I would love
Trevor
to see.
Story.
I would love
Story.
it. Trevor Story's been incredible. You guys should go.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Fangraphs had a great piece on Trevor Story like a week ago. You guys should definitely go check that out because he's just been tearing it up. He had what was his home run the other? It was like 470 almost. It was
Who was it the 500 and the 400 yard?
It was Trevor Story.
That was
Yeah,
Trevor Story.
I was
I think it was like
saying
503.
That-
And
it
the
was like that
500 one was
400
off one knee. It was crazy. It was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he just,
He's so
fell,
good.
and I was just like,
He's
wow.
so good.
You want to talk crazy? The Red Sox are going to win their 100th game today.
Yep.
Yep.
They're currently playing the Blue Jays, top of the 4th. Nothing.
Fangraphs also has the Astros at a better chance to win the World Series than the Red Sox.
That's crazy to me.
ridiculous.
by
Really?
6%. Like they
ridiculous.
have
That's sizable. That's crazy. And maybe that's because Chris Sale's currently hurt. Pedroia's probably going to be out for the season. Devers has been hurt. Eduardo Rodriguez is hurt. But I mean, that's still such
They're
a good
like
team.
so far and
Because Sale's
away.
going to come back.
Yeah.
David Price has been pitching really well. Rick Porcello has been pitching well.
When that team's at full strength.
Correct. And I mean, they have 2 MVP. They probably have the guys who are going to be 1, 2 in MVP voting with JD Martinez and Mookie Betts. With
Yeah.
Jose Ramirez probably being the 3rd. It's crazy. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, JD Martinez could possibly win the Triple Crown, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
It's ridiculous.
He's pretty
He's
good.
pretty good.
Remember when people were saying like, "Oh, that's just their answer to Stanton, and
Yeah.
Stanton's still way better." No, JD Martinez pretty good.
I know. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the Rays could be a 90-win team, and they're going to miss the
saw
playoffs.
that, yeah.
That stinks. The Rays are going to have more wins than everyone in the NL West and miss the playoffs.
That just sucks.
It's
That's-
crazy to me. And
That's
because
tough.
You wouldn't change anything though, right? Like we're all on the same page that the playoff format, the way that it is right now, is still the way that it should be. Even when the 90-win Rays team doesn't make the playoffs.
I mean, because even if there was a realignment, I mean, the Rays would still be stuck with New York and Boston.
yeah.
Unless they somehow got put in the NL East.
But like no realignment, keep leagues the way that they are. People that'll say, let the best 10 teams in, and rather than have the 2 wild cards and make it divisional. People that say that,
I still think the setup. I just think the AL
They
East
have
is so
90
crazy.
or 80 wins.
they have 80 right now,
80. Okay.
and there's
okay.
16 games left to play.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they'll probably hit 90. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
they
17.
knocked Corey Kluber out in 3 innings the other day. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
You're right. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the Rays are so fun with. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. No Chris Archer, no Evan Longoria, no Corey Dickerson. They're just a bunch of guys just playing really well. It's crazy. And the Rays are so fun. You guys should definitely watch them.
Do you think
going
they
forward.
regret giving up Chris Archer now? because they think
No,
that
because Chris Archer's been stinky since he got to Pittsburgh.
okay.
I think the Rays were waiting to sell on Chris Archer. They were waiting for a team to offer way too much, and it happened because Pittsburgh thought they were in the playoff race.
The Rays could maybe catch the Athletics. Probably not, but
It'd be tough. I mean, because they play.
They play the Athletics. Then their next series is against the A's starting.
What's the deficit
tomorrow.
right now? How far behind?
A's are 88 and 57. The Rays are 80 and 65. So it'd be tough. Like they have to make a run, but
Yeah.
I don't.
They
I,
sweep
I don't. I don't
already?
think the AL wildcard's race anymore.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, unless they.
The Rays are 8 games back of the Athletics.
And
Okay,
and
they
the,
would
have-
and
they
the
would have
A's
to-
are having a money ball year, so like
Right,
probably
they'd
not.
have to sweep the A's. I mean, because the Rays do have an easy schedule going forward. They have Toronto and Texas, and then a series against New York, which they've played New York really well lately. But I mean, the Rays would have to sweep Oakland to have a shot, because then they.
I mean theoretically they could catch the Yankees too if I'm saying that because they're only 9 back of the Yankees.
right,
It's like they
But,
could,
I mean, again-
but the odds though.
right. I mean, it's.
Yeah,
I'm sure
no,
it's
it's-
possible, but I mean, they'd have to really play. I mean, over the next 16 games, they'd have to win like 13 of them, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'd
They would
have
just
to
have
be
to
an-
go on a
It'd
complete
have to be
hot
on
streak.
an unbelievable run, because the A's play the Angels and the Twins and the Mariners and the Angels again. So I mean,
They should be fine.
Oakland's probably locked in, yeah. But that'll do it for us today. Gave you 5 extra minutes, no break. So that was a good show. A lot of quality content. But we will catch you back here next week. Tomorrow, Eli, Isaac, Brian, and Tati are in here. So definitely tune in for their show. I'm sure they'll have a lot to say about the upcoming Illinois game. But for myself, Tommy Polcyn, Nathan DeHaan, and Alex Aguilera, you have been listening to Illini Drive. Thanks for hanging out with us. Alex, hit the music.